Fly Box, and we're just going over February's beginner tying box, which is a Euro bugger. Euro bugger is, simply put, just a woolly bugger tied on a jig hook. We're going to use a little bit smaller hackle though, and use some dubbing instead of chenille for the body. This is tied on an AHREX 551 hook, and this is a size 6 with a 4.5 slotted tungsten bead here. And so we're just gonna go ahead and get started, and I'm gonna wrap back to my tie-in point, which is just before the bend of the hook where we're gonna tie our tail in. I'm gonna take a piece of this black marabou, and I'm actually gonna strip off this one side of it. So if you look at it, so the stuff I stripped off is what I'm gonna use for the tail. I don't want a big bushy tail on these. These Euro buggers are traditionally tied with long, kind of skinny tails, so they flow real well and get that good jigging action as you raise your rod tip. And so we're just going to measure that out to be about 2 lengths of the hook is what we want, kind of shoot for. And you, of course, can play around with that and see what you like best. I'm just going to tie that in, just make a pinch wrap here, just hold that marabou tight with my left hand, and I'm going to wrap all the way up to the bead. I'll just collect all that excess and cut it off close to the hook. Okay, so our next step is we're going to tie in our hackle. This is just black dry fly hackle. I try to get the biggest size I can find, and we're just going to go ahead and tie this in at the back of the fly. I've stripped off a few of the barbs at the bottom of the feather. I'm just going to grab that stem with my thread and just anchor that here just to the side of the hook facing me. I'll tie that down nice and tight. And then we're going to be ready for our dubbing next. So you could add wire into this pattern if you wanted to. I've found that as you wrap the hackle forward through the dubbing, that it sinks down in there pretty good and doesn't tend to break when fish hit it. And now I'm going to be using our simi seal dub, which is in Canadian black, and I really like this color variation here. Got a bunch of different colors in these. In this particular dubbing, it's got black, blue, kind of purple and gold, so it's really a good color combination, I think, for buggers and leeches. And I'm going to roll that on really tight to my thread, and now I'm going to advance this forward, and I'm just going to cover up my thread wraps, get up here towards the bead, just fill in that dead space right behind the bead there. So we're going to bring our hackle through now, and we'll just evenly space this with good segmentation here. I don't want a real tight clump or tight wraps of hackle. And then I'll get right up here behind the bead and do one full turn, and then bring my thread up and around, making sure that I make contact with that hackle stem so it's tied down. Trim off my excess close. That'll tie another 2 or 3 buggers if I use it carefully. I'm going to pull everything back now and just wrap down real tight, make sure I got that stem good. I like to use a little head cement or super glue here just to let that lock down into the thread. So I'm just going to take a little bit of head cement, put it on my bodkin here, and just let that sink down into the thread there. Okay, and then if I see any like dead spots right behind the bead, I like to just kind of fill those in. You're not going to get rid of the thread collar, but I just like to kind of just touch this up right here so that dubbing is all the way up towards the bead if I can help it, and it kind of helps push that hackle back. Now I'll whip finish here right behind the bead. Go ahead and snip out our thread, and then I'm going to take a Velcro brush and just brush out that dubbing. And that is your Euro bugger. Fun little fly to fish. I fish it just like a traditional bugger. You can strip it. You can kind of just strip it upstream or across stream and bounce it through pools. I like to fish it on a Euro rig as well, kind of straight line it through some runs and just raise my rod tip and lower it, and it gets that minnow action. It kind of flips that tail and gets that fly to move. You can see you brush that dubbing out. It just adds another element to the fly, adds a little flash to it and some more movement. I really like the look of these, and they fish really well too. So go ahead, tie up a bunch, let us know how you do with it, and remember to follow and subscribe our YouTube channel, and also check us out on Instagram and Facebook.